Hello, and welcome to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking. We all want to be happy, but we're all trying to create that happiness outside of us. How can we stop trying to create joy and just be joy? In this next episode, Vivekji teaches us 5 steps to help us go from doing to being.
Hari Om, and greetings from Niagara Falls. In our car, we have a book on how the body works. And recently, Vyasa was reading about the lungs. And in this book, it says that if you smoke, this causes your lungs to become black. So Vyasa was asking me, what happens when your lungs become black? And I shared that you don't live as long then, that you'll probably die sooner. And when I had said that, then Shuka quickly added, that's why I don't smoke. Our dialogue was extended then to all of the things that are getting old. So Vyasa was saying, cars get old, and Shuka was sharing signs get old. And this was going on and on and on. Relating this to our class, the more we reflect upon ourselves, everything that we have, everything that we are, this word reflect, we sometimes make abstract, even though it's not. If you associate this with light, when you reflect light, you're shining light in a different area, correct? In our inner world, it means to think about. When you reflect on all that you have and all that you are, it is relative. It is getting older. It is going to die. This is everything that relates to the jiva. So then we think about the jagat, this multiverse. If I hold on to the multiverse, then I won't get old and I won't die. But the jagat is made up of the same materials, has the same qualities as the jiva. Getting old and dying is just longer. These walls will last longer than this arm will, but these walls will not last forever. When one is honest through their reflection on the jiva, on the jagat, then rationally, since there's a relative, there has to be an absolute. If there's a creature, if there's creation, there has to be a creator or Jagadishvara. This is when one begins their journey. For us, our journey is the pata to moksha. From the relative to the absolute. This journey is a most logical one, a most practical one. Others may describe you as being illogical, impractical, but that's only because they're not being honest. If you are honest, it doesn't matter what others say. You know this to be a fact. In this acceptance, you adapt. Headspace 66, mantra. In English, teaching. The teachings in Sanatana Dharma are designed for you not to need these teachings. They are a means. Shared differently, it is to depend on them to help us become independent. And we experience this unconsciously through sleep. The mantra in your mind before you sleep is, I want to sleep, I want to sleep. It changes to, I need to sleep, I need to sleep. And then what happens to that mantra? You don't need it anymore because you are experiencing that, yes? Consciously, we are to do this with jnana, or contemplation. I am infinity, I am infinity, I am infinity. Then this mantra is to be transcended. I don't need a teaching to know I am infinity. I'm feeling this. So with mantras, listen to them. That is shravana. Learn about these mantras. That is manana. But most importantly, live these mantras. That is nididhyasana, or practice. When you live a mantra, you don't need a mantra. And this very much relates to Headspace 67, which is japa. Japa is remembering. Remembering what? To buy milk. that lane is closed. Remembering the teaching. Japa relates to nama, or a name. And how beautifully in Sanatana Dharma, there's always a framework to be deeper. This name is to trigger rupa, which means a form. When I use the word Lakshmi, for many of you, you may be thinking about a mother, a cousin, and so on. For me, I'm not close to any Lakshmis in terms of family. I think of Devi Lakshmi. So just the word Lakshmi, all of a sudden I have this beautiful, magnificent form in my mind. But I also know that's not what makes her amazing. It's her gunas. And then that should trigger dhamma, that she and I are one. So from nama, this is like a key. You turn the key and you keep on turning and opening the door and entering. Most practically, japa is a way to help get out of a tough time. How many of you had a tough day today? Tough week? Tough life? When we engage in japa, it's a way of helping to get out of our mind. I depend on japa in the evening. I wake up early, I tend to a lot, and then my enthusiasm is depleted. Our children come home, so they need energy also. And it's only japa that helps me to get out of complaining and blaming and annotating. Our course, 100 Steps to Infinity, is very much about japa and mantra. To remember that each word is a teaching. We've now completed 2/3 of the Moksha Pata. We're about to start Headspace 68. Do you feel confident about these words? Have they become more than words for you? I will share a personal story of mine relating to mantra and japa before we continue. When I was growing up here in Niagara Falls, we never had Bala Vihar. I never went to Hindu classes. I was never a Chinmaya Yuvikentra. But I do remember reading the Amar Chitra Kathas. Somehow we had these comics in our homes. And I remember reading the comic on Dhruva and how Dhruva was so steady with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And I was younger, so I could relate to Dhruva. So I felt like this is my mantra in life. When I was a young adult and I moved to our ashram, that mantra was still with me, but I felt that I wasn't completely comfortable with this. And so I experimented with Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanamaha. Om Namo Narayana. And I was experimenting with this and I wanted to be more comfortable. And I was going through a tough period at the ashram, not externally, but in my own journey. I was feeling dejected. And so one night, I would sleep around 10 p.m. I verbally said, I said it out loud. I'm in my room by myself. The day is over. I said to Bhagavan Narayana that if you don't reveal yourself tonight, then I'm going to stop having faith in you. I will not relate to you anymore. And I went to sleep. In the middle of the night, and I have no idea what time it is, but I know it's the middle of the night because I can't hear anything else. What I do hear is Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. And so I get up and I open my front windows. That's facing inside of the ashram and nothing. There's frogs and a dog. I open the back window that faces outside of the ashram. And that's where this is coming from, but there's nothing there. It is literally the middle of the night and there's just blackness, just space. And I hope we know each other well enough that I wasn't hallucinating. No hallucinogens can come into the ashram, okay? Om Namo Narayanaya. And I wasn't dejected anymore. I'm sharing this with you you can use the word experiment, or you can use the sentiment of just be steady. Whatever mantra feels comfortable for you right now, you be steady with it. That steadiness will be supported by Bhagwan for you to become sincere with the mantra also. For me, I'm beyond comfortable with Om Namo Narayanaya now. Okay? And I have lots of stories like this about my relationship with God, my relationship with my guru. And if there's a summary thought for all of you, they know you more than you know you. And that is a very comforting sentiment, that they know you more than you know you. That's why in Meaningful Mornings, we're learning to surrender, yes? We are going to flow fast through 5 headspaces now. Why? Because you know these headspaces. Because you are experts in these headspaces. These headspaces define you. They describe you. Number 68, karma. In English, action. Every human being's instinct is that they can create joy. Just think of a toddler. They want a toy. They want a treat. Their instinct is that they can create joy. However, the grace of God that is expressed through guidance If you have guidance in your life, know that to be the grace of God. This guidance is you cannot create joy. Then karma becomes karma yoga. As long as you feel that you can create joy, karma. With guidance, you now feel you cannot create joy, karma yoga. Karma yoga is when one has the intention to quieten their mind. So now think, for all of you who went to a professional setting today, physically, virtually, were you in that workplace to quieten your mind? Probably not. In which case, you can lip service it that you're engaged in karma yoga, but what you're actually engaged in is karma. The intention to be quiet, to become quieter. More practically, I'm zooming into this more. It is this notion to serve and smile. Serve and smile. Isn't it at McDonald's that smiles are free? Next time you go to McDonald's, if you go to McDonald's, order some, okay? Give them to me. This serving is arpana, or being dedicated. And the smiling is prasada, being accepting. Serve and smile will help you to quieten the mind, will help you to evolve from creating joy to being joy. Make sense? And one more insight into karma yoga, or serving and smiling. Historically, when a society becomes more service-oriented, there is more peace, undoubtedly, but there's also more prosperity. Don't you agree? When people are more service-oriented, that means resources are being spread out, correct? Time is being spread out, effort is being spread out. There's less selfishness, so more prosperity. Just think of this in terms of $1. If I have $1 and I keep it, how much wealth exists? $1. If we're all together and we keep passing that dollar around, then there's $100 because each of us is using it in a different way, correct? So see how much society needs karma yoga. It's incredible. Headspace 69, bhakti. Without looking at the Seeker's Word Book, define bhakti for me in one English word. Devotion, trust, reverence. Good, lots of thoughts. Bhagwan Rama tells Sri Lakshmana that bhakti is depending. Depending. A bhakta, or one who is devoted, has the clarity that they are powerless. And reflect on this. How much effort we've put in so many ways, and still we are unable to direct the mind. Agreed? We've had a relationship with Vedanta for 25 years, and still the mind dominates us. So one is clear that they are powerless. They're also clear that Bhagwan is powerful. We are less, she is full. So naturally then, a bhakta who's powerless depends on the one who is powerful. Doesn't that make sense? If you go to dinner and there's some friends there who you like equally, but one is rich, it would make sense for you to sit beside them then, correct? They will order more. They won't eat all of that. You get to eat what they've ordered. Yes? See, that's one utility of having kids, is that they get tasty food, but they don't eat it, so I get to eat it. Depending, and in this depending, we are living with the feeling that I don't need to get anything from Bhagwan's creation. Bhakti is, I do not live to get anything from Bhagwan's creation. When one lives like that, it evolves to, I am living to give to Bhagwan's creation. But the evolution of that is I'm living to be with Bhagwan. I will share that again. For the beginner bhakta, their relationship with creation is, what do I get? For the intermediate bhakta, they live to give to creation. For the advanced bhakta, they are not living to get or give. They're living to be, not even with creation, but the creator. See how that distance keeps on becoming smaller until there's oneness. And the powerless becomes one with the powerful. Headspace 70. All of the 5 spaces we're flowing through today are all connected. They trigger each other. From karma, one evolves to bhakti. From bhakti, one evolves to jnana. Jnana in English, insight. It is not seeing with one's eyes. It is seeing with one's intellect. So intellect sight is insight. Insight is that which facilitates our identification. Insight facilitates identification. Suppose we all meet in Cleveland for a retreat. And before we come into where the discourse is happening, we all take our shoes off. And then the discourse is over, so we all go outside and you can't find your shoes. Someone else is wearing your shoes, so you wear someone else's shoes. But then you happen to be sitting with that person for dinner, and you know your shoes, and they know their shoes, and through that insight, that identification is corrected. Yes? Viparita bhavana, wrong identification is corrected through this insight. So our identifications are facilitated by insight. And in terms of expression, our decisions are made by insight also. If you are trying to exchange a plane ticket, so you're on the phone with customer service, and they're being impatient with you, and somehow you get to know this person more, and this person is sharing with you that their family member is in the hospital. Are you still going to be impatient with them, or are you going to be very accepting of them then? See how much compassion comes just from that insight that they have a family member in a hospital. So jnana is powerful, jnana is practical, and Sanatana Dharma knows this, which is why in Sanatana Dharma, we have this teaching on being a astika or a nastika. Astika means you're a theist. Nastika, you're an atheist. Now, if I asked you to define that, I know all of you are going to write in reference to God. But in Sanatana Dharma, it's in reference to the Veda. If you don't believe in the Veda, that's being an atheist. And if you believe in the Veda, that's being a theist. That's how Sanatana Dharma works. And it makes sense because tell me, what is the final subject matter of the Veda? What does Vedanta teach us? Self. Good. Give me one more word. Brahman. Brahma. Self. That's right. This is what the Veda is directing us to. And I've been sharing this a lot in Meaningful Mornings about Vedic dhyana. One can contemplate, but if one doesn't have a subject matter like happiness or infinity, one will never become that. See, if I feel that creation is absolute, what will I contemplate on? Creation. What will I feel? It's not absolute. It's factually not absolute. That's why jnana yoga precedes dhyana yoga. Yes. It all makes sense. 71. Viveka. Tell me in English what viveka means. Feel free to use lovely descriptive words. Discrimination. All fine. I don't know if I told you this before, but as part of our training, we had to engage in public speaking. And part of this was us speaking on verses from chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita in the evening at our mandir. And the verse I was speaking on, I had spoken on it, and Pujaswami Tejramine at this. He's sitting beside me, and I'm standing and looking at everyone. And I had concluded saying, wherever there's viveka, there are no problems. And I just smiled. And he just looked down and went like this. Viveka, you have shared, is correct. But the implication for us is prioritization. Prioritization. And prioritization is facilitated by insight, correct? My insights help me to prioritize. Viveka comes from the base vich, V-I-C-H. That is where the English word which, W-H-I-C-H has come. Okay? Which path do I take? Which path do I take? So that's what the word viveka means. It is to discern between two entities, to prioritize one of these entities, how to make this decision. VI means vishesha. So vishesha plus vich means viveka. It is to discern, not at an ordinary level. Do I drink cinnamon tea or do I drink rooibos tea? It is about what's important in life. Make decisions that are deep, that is depth, and long, that is longevity. When you have to choose what car to buy, when you have to choose which responsibility to follow, in terms of desha or space, engage in that which has more depth. In terms of kala or time, make your decisions based on longevity. So depth, how much happiness will this bring? longevity, for how long. And whatever is higher in this, vastu, that's what should be important to you. Okay? And finally, a related headspace, 72, vairagya. Vairagya. In English, independence. This is based on viveka. When I prioritize that which is deep and in the long term, I hold on to that and I stop depending on that which is shallow and in the short term. So independence. More specifically, zooming into this more, it is to be independent of raga. Viraga or vairagya means to be without likes. That naturally also means to be without dislikes. Sharing this in a more experiential way. To be free of likes means not to live where you're trying to get something. And if there's nothing to get, there's nothing to lose. So trying to gain, I like that. Avoiding loss, I dislike that. So zooming into this more, practice being secure. Depend on yourself. The more you depend on yourself, the more secure you will be. Then you will have a passion, not for getting, but a passion for giving. I find it to be impractical when people define vairagya as dispassion. The more experiential sentiment is, I have a passion for giving. So I have this dispassion for getting, nothing to get, nothing to lose. Karma to bhakti, bhakti to jnana. Jnana helps me to prioritize. Prioritization helps me to be independent.
If you enjoyed what you heard or want to learn more, share this episode with a friend or find us online at facebook.com/cmniagara. For those on the journey of self-development, Chinmaya Mission Niagara provides a community forum for seekers to listen, reflect, and contemplate. This podcast is produced by the Young Adults of Chinmaya Mission, an international nonprofit working to transform individuals through the knowledge of Vedanta. Until next time, inspire, love, be.